Okay, let's unpack this. I was looking through the stack of sources for today, and I had a bit of a realization.
Hmm.
When most of us think about a country, and honestly, any country, but especially one like Iran that dominates the headlines,
Mm.
we tend to think of it as this massive singular block.
Right, a monolith.
Yeah.
We think in terms of the government or the
Yeah.
history with a capital H.
Yes.
It's usually very top-down, very political, and frankly, a little dry.
Exactly. We see borders, we see flags, news clips. We don't necessarily see the texture inside those lines.
Yeah.
But today, we are doing something completely different. We aren't looking at a geopolitical strategy paper or a history textbook.
Not at all.
We are looking at a set of creative notes, specifically character studies intended for songwriting and world building.
Which is such a fascinating angle. Instead of analyzing GDP or treaties, these documents break the country down by its soul.
Souls, yeah.
They treat the geography like a cast of characters in a movie. They assign a personality, a specific sound, and an emotional weight to 5 distinct regions.
It's like a casting call. But the
Mhm.
characters are mountains and deserts and coastlines.
Mhm.
The premise here is that if you really want to understand the people of Iran, you can't just look at the capital city. You have to look at the bones, the heart, the hands, the soul, and the pulse of the landscape itself.
And the core argument these notes make is that geography is destiny. That's the big idea here.
Right.
If you live on a mountain that has been fighting off empires for 3,000 years, you are going to develop a completely different psychology than if you live in a garden city where people, sit around reciting poetry.
So our mission today is to traverse these 5 regions: the Zagros Mountains, Shiraz, Baluchistan, Mashhad, and the Persian Gulf, to see how the land shapes the life.
Okay.
And I want to start with what the notes call the bones of the country.
The backbone. We are talking about the Zagros Mountains in western Iran.
The character note for this region immediately grabbed me. It describes the Zagros as a scar that learned how to stand.
Wow.
I mean, that is such a heavy line. It doesn't sound like a place you go for a relaxing spa weekend.
It definitely is not. This is a massive, craggy mountain range that stretches from the northwest all the way down toward the Gulf.
Mm-hmm.
And when the notes call it a scar, they are referring to the history. This range has acted as a natural barrier for millennia. The source material lists just a parade of empires: Assyrians, Arabs, Mongols, Ottomans, who all tried to push through these passes.
And the note for the songwriter here is incredibly evocative. It says, "They never fully conquered us, only passed through."
Right, and that sets a very specific tone for the people living there.
Fundamentals of Stoicism.
The dominant culture here is tribal. You have the Lurs, the Kurds, the Bakhtiaris, the Qashqai. These represent an identity forged by stone.
Right.
The notes emphasize that this isn't a place for polish, it's a place for endurance.
And to survive in that kind of environment, I mean, you can't just stay put, right? The notes talk about a concept called transhumance.
Yes.
Now, that sounds like a complex biological term, but in this context, it's a whole lifestyle.
It's a survival strategy dictated by the mountains. Transhumance is the seasonal migration of livestock. It's not just wandering aimlessly, it's a very disciplined motion.
So you're moving your entire life.
Your entire life, your family, your animals, your tents between summer highland pastures and winter lowland pastures.
Do you imagine that for a second?
Yes.
Your life is defined by constant motion over difficult terrain. You can't accumulate heavy furniture. You can't have fragile heirlooms.
Exactly. And because you can't rely on city walls or a central police force out in the passes, your values shift.
How so?
Loyalty to your kin becomes the most important thing. The notes highlight that hospitality here is a survival mechanism. It says guests are sacred, even in poverty.
That stood out to me. It's almost like an insurance policy.
Mm.
If I take care of you when you're crossing the mountain today, you'll take care of me when I'm stuck in a blizzard tomorrow.
Precisely. And you see this functionality in the sensory details, too. The food described is survival cuisine, acorn bread, lamb cooked over an open fire, and kashk.
Kashk, that's the dried yogurt way, right?
Yes. It's brilliant engineering. You have milk from your herds, but no refrigerators. So you ferment it, dry it into these hard rocks of protein that can last for years without spoiling.
Wow.
When you're hungry, you reconstitute it. It's sour, pungent, and it keeps you alive. Nothing is wasted.
It's purely functional. I also love the note on the soundscape for this region. The songwriter is told to use sparse, low-frequency drones.
Think about the acoustics of a stone valley. A high-pitched, frantic violin would just get lost in the wind.
It wouldn't
You
carry.
need sound that carries. The notes mention the dohol drum. It's described as sounding like a heartbeat.
Yeah.
It's not about entertainment. It's about signaling presence in a vast landscape. I am here. I am still standing.
Endurance over disappearance. That's the takeaway for the Zagros. It's the backbone because it holds everything up without asking for credit.
Which provides a really sharp contrast to our next stop. We are moving from the rugged stone of the Zagros to what the notes call the heart.
Shiraz, Fars province.
The vibe shift here is immediate. We go from scars and stone to softness and poetry.
Yeah.
The notes describe Shiraz as memory held gently.
It feels like a completely different country. If the Zagros is about surviving the elements, Shiraz seems to be about enjoying them. The notes mention gardens, nightingales, and, well, flowers everywhere.
This is the cultural heartland. Historically, it's near Persepolis, the ceremonial capital of the ancient empire.
Mm-hmm.
But the character study here focuses less on the ruins and more on the atmosphere. The key concept is soft wisdom over loud power.
The notes mention that poetry here isn't just something you study in school. It's treated like a daily practice.
Yeah.
They talk about two giants of literature, Hafez and Sa'adi.
Right. Their tombs are in Shiraz, and the notes make a really interesting observation. People don't visit these tombs like they're visiting a historical monument or a dead president.
Oh.
They visit them like they are visiting a living relative or, I don't know, a therapist. You go there, you touch the marble, and you seek guidance.
I love that idea. Instead of asking a friend for advice, you open a book of Hafez. It implies a culture that really values the pause.
Mm-hmm.
In the Zagros, you act to survive. In Shiraz, you pause to reflect.
And that reflection breeds a certain type of social interaction. The notes allude to the concept of teroff.
Oh, right.
It's this complex system of politeness and etiquette like refusing a gift 3 times before accepting it. In Shiraz, this softness is the social lubricant. It's about not being direct or abrasive.
Intimate, not performative. That's how the notes describe the evenings there.
Yeah.
And the visuals match that perfectly. We have the pink mosque Nasir al-Mulk.
Which is famous for its stained glass. In the morning, the light just floods the interior with pinks and purples. It's incredibly delicate.
The total opposite of a rugged mountain fortress.
Exactly.
And the food. We've gone from dried whey rocks to Shirazi salad, cucumber, tomato, lime, crisp, fresh, hydrated, and faluda.
Frozen noodles with rose water and lime juice.
It just sounds like pure hedonism.
It is, but it's refined hedonism. You sit in a garden, you eat rosewater ice, and you recite poetry. It paints a picture of a people who have mastered the art of living, not just surviving.
It creates a space where intellectual softness is admired more than physical strength.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
So we have the stone backbone and the poetic heart. Now, the notes take a sharp turn. We're heading southeast to the Hands.
This is Baluchistan.
This section of the notes feels tougher. There's a grit to it. The source material describes Baluchistan's theme as practicality, structure, and dignity. But there's a phrase here that really stuck with me. History as unfinished infrastructure.
That is a very loaded phrase. This is a border region right up against Pakistan and Afghanistan. Geographically, it's harsh arid deserts, semi-active volcanoes like Mount Tafton,
Right.
and a sparse coastline. But politically, it's often been the periphery. The unfinished infrastructure line suggests a feeling of being left behind or, disconnected from the center.
There's a metaphor here I found really striking and a bit heartbreaking. The notes describe the region as the dishwasher in the back room.
Wow.
It's the unseen labor. The people who keep the system running but aren't invited to the dinner party.
That is a powerful image of marginalization. But, and this is crucial, the notes emphasize that the response to this hardship isn't despair or self-pity, it's extreme dignity.
So when the outside world neglects you,
You build your own internal structure to rely on. They mention Balukh
it's a code of honor.
Yes, it's a rigid set of ethical rules, how you treat a guest, how you keep a promise, how you defend your family. In the chaos of a border region, this code is the law. It provides the structure that the government might not.
You can actually see that need for order in the visuals described. The landscape is beige, brown, dusty. But the clothing, specifically the women's clothing, is the total opposite.
It's an explosion of color. The notes call it a visual language of lineage. The women wear these incredibly intricate, hand-embroidered geometric patterns in bright reds, blues,
It
oranges.
feels like a rebellion against the landscape.
It is. If the world around you is drab and dusty, you wear the rainbow. The way of asserting existence. It says, I am here, and I have a history. It's beauty as a form of resistance.
The music notes are interesting, too. It mentions the Donnelly, a double flute, and the sword, but it says the sound isn't melodic and flowing like in Shiraz.
No.
It's minimal and repetitive, like systems running under strain.
It's trance-like. It's music for endurance, much like the Zaggles, but with a different flavor. It's about rhythm and cycle. It mirrors the work of daily life.
And the food reflects that practicality dates, spicy stews, tandoori breads. The notes say food is functional care.
It's high energy. You need the sugar from the dates, the heat from the spices. It's not the delicate salad of the gardens.
It's fuel.
It's fuel for the hands that do the heavy lifting.
So if Zagros is, you can't conquer me, and Shiraz is, I will charm you, Baluchistan is,
I will outlast your neglect.
I will outlast your neglect. That is the perfect summary. It's a very quiet, dignified strength.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so from the arid southeast, we travel all the way up to the northeast. The notes call this region the soul. We are talking about Mashhad.
Mashhad is the spiritual heavyweight. It's the second largest city in Iran, but its identity is almost entirely centered around one thing, the shrine of Imam Reza.
The theme here is spirituality, patience, and wisdom without noise. But looking at the history in the notes, there's been plenty of noise.
Oh, yeah. Invasions, earthquakes, wars.
Constant destruction.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the city always rebuilds around the shrine. The rhythm of the city is defined by that cycle of destruction and renewal. And the notes highlight a fascinating tension between the sacred silence inside the shrine walls and the absolute chaos of the bazaars right outside.
It's that transition from the material world to the spiritual. The visual description of the shrine is intense gold domes, turquoise tiles, and mirrored halls. The notes say these mirrors are meant to disorient the ego.
That's a beautiful architectural concept, and it's rooted in Sufi mysticism. You walk into these halls, and the walls are covered in millions of tiny mirror fragments.
But you see yourself.
You see yourself fractured. You stop being you, the individual with a job and an ego, and you become a small part of this infinite light.
That sounds overwhelming.
It's meant to be. It's meant to bring you to your knees, literally and metaphorically. It forces a kind of surrender. And the soundscape supports this whispered prayers and the sound of weeping.
The weeping part really stuck out to me. The notes mentioned a communal sorrow.
That's a very specific cultural emotion. In the West, we often try to hide sorrow, fix it, or, do it in private. Here, in the context of the pilgrimage, sorrow is active. You go there to grieve for the imam, for yourself, for the world. It's considered a cleansing act.
People come alone, but rarely leave feeling alone. That's the line in the text. It's shared grief as a connecting force.
Precisely. And the patience required for this spiritual work is reflected in the food. The signature dish here is sholeh mashadi.
The notes call it patience in food form.
It is. It's this incredibly thick, heavy stew meat, beans, grains, heavy on the spices and saffron. But the key is the preparation. You have to stir it for hours and hours to get the right texture.
So it takes a massive amount of effort.
Communal physical effort, yeah. You can't microwave spirituality, and you certainly can't microwave sholeh. The culture values the weight. In a fast-paced world, Mashhad says, slow down. The only thing that really matters is the soul.
It anchors the country. But now we drop all the way south. To the water, the heat, the humidity. The notes call this the pulse.
The Persian Gulf.
Yeah.
And honestly, if you dropped a listener blindfolded into this region, they might not even realize they're in Iran immediately.
The energy shift in the notes is wild. We go from the patience of the shrine to heat, rhythm, and defiance.
This is a seafaring identity. Sailors, pearl divers, fishermen. The culture here is known as Bandori, and because of centuries of sea trade, it's a fusion culture.
A fusion, right.
You have the Persian base, of course, but it is layered with strong Arab, Indian, and African influences.
That African influence is something I think a lot of people miss when thinking about Iran. The notes highlight Zar music.
This is crucial. Zar isn't just a genre of music you listen to on the radio, it's a spiritual ritual, originally from East Africa, involving healing and trance. The music is polyrhythmic, intense, and physical.
And the instruments mentioned in the Anadobana, it's essentially a bagpipe.
It is, but a very high-pitched, piercing bagpipe. It's not the low drone of the Zagros Mountains or the soft flute of the gardens. This is music that cuts through the humid air.
It's designed to make you move.
You dance to it until you drop.
The notes have a key concept, the sea as mentor. And it says, the culture doesn't shout, it outlasts. But looking at the visuals, it kind of does shout.
Well, yes.
The red soil of Hormuz Island, the green mangroves, and the masks.
The Burkiye Janubi. These are the face masks worn by women in the South. They look almost metallic gold, red, black. They frame the eyes and the nose in a very structural way.
They aren't soft veils.
No, they look like armor.
They look fierce. They have to be. The climate here is unforgiving.
Yeah.
The heat in the summer is oppressive. To survive and to maintain your identity in a port city where people come and go, you need a certain fierceness.
The food is fierce too.
Yeah.
Spicy shrimp, tamarind, dates, flavors that burn the tongue.
It wakes you up. Everything here is about intensity.
Speaking of identity, the notes bring up the naming dispute. We usually stay away from politics, but the notes frame this as a cultural issue, not just a map issue.
It's about memory.
Yeah.
The notes point out that for the locals, insisting on the name Persian Gulf isn't just about nationalism in the modern sense.
Yeah. It's about saying, we have been here. Our ancestors died diving for pearls in these waters. It's a refusal to be erased from the map.
It doesn't beg to be seen. It waits. That's the closing line for the Gulf section. It feels like a sleeping giant.
It really brings the whole map together, doesn't it? You see the balance.
It does. Let's try to synthesize this for the listener, because we've covered a lot of ground. We have the Zagros, the backbone,
Stoic, unmovable, focused on survival.
and Shiraz, the heart,
Poetic, diplomatic, soft, focused on beauty.
Baluchistan, the hands,
Dignified, structured, resilient, doing the unseen work.
Mashhad, the soul,
Patient, spiritual, communal, focused on the eternal.
and the Gulf, the pulse.
Rhythmic, diverse, defiant, focused on the energy of the moment.
When you lay them out like that, you realize that a standard map is almost useless for understanding the people. A map shows you kilometers and roads.
Right.
This approach shows you the emotional weather.
And you realize that a nation isn't one single personality, it's a family. And like any family, the members are totally different. You need the hardness of the Zagros to protect the softness of Shiraz.
Right. If the whole country was Shiraz, it might have been conquered in a week.
And if the whole country was Zagros, it might never have written a poem. You need the patience of Mashhad to balance the fire of the Gulf.
It's a system of checks and balances, but built into the landscape itself. It actually makes me want to look at my own country differently.
It raises a great question for everyone listening. We all live somewhere. We all have a landscape that surrounds us.
Right. If you looked at your own region, not the politics, but the dirt, the weather, the noise, what represents you? Is your landscape a scar that learned to stand?
Is it a garden holding memory gently, or is it a sea that waits?
And what does it sound like? Is it a heartbeat drum or a high-pitched bagpipe?
Geography isn't just where you are, it's who you are.
That's the thought we want to leave you with today. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.
It's been a pleasure.
Catch you on the next one.